1 million years ago, before cities, before language, before the comfort of firelight, there was only fear. Fear and something stronger. Love. A love that took its first breath beneath an endless sky, when the first humans fought not for power, but for their children. In this episode, we travel back 1 million years to witness how the earliest families survived against a world that wanted them gone, how they defended the small, the fragile, and in doing so, began to build the very soul of humanity. At the break of dawn, the first humans awoke to a world that did not welcome them. The ground shook with the steps of giants, saber-toothed cats, hyenas larger than men, and monstrous birds whose shadows devoured the light. Their only weapon was awareness. Every sound mattered. Every movement used a decision between life and death. A mother held her child close. Her heart raced like thunder, yet her steps were silent. She knew one cry could bring the hunters of the dark, so she sang without words, a soundless hum only her child could feel through her chest. That hum was the first lullaby humanity ever knew. When storms raged, they sought the caves, dark, dripping, and dangerous. They weren't homes. They were borrowed sanctuaries, already marked by beasts that called them theirs. But desperation makes courage. A mother would face claws and fangs if it meant one more night for her child. And sometimes, she did not return. Each scar on their hands, each lost life, was a lesson written in blood. And slowly, those lessons became instinct, the instinct to protect, to plan, to endure. Fire changed everything. At first, it was fear, light too bright, heat too wild. But then, it became the greatest shield the world had ever seen. Around its light, the first families gathered. The glow pushed back the beasts, and for the first time, the night belonged to humans. Parents took turns feeding the fire, whispering stories to keep each other awake. And in those flickering flames, they discovered something greater than warmth. They discovered belonging. Fire was not just a weapon. It was family made visible. Defending the young demanded invention. The first tools were born not from curiosity, but from fear. Sticks hardened in fire, stones sharpened to edges. They learned to stand side by side, not as individuals, but as protectors. Every stick held was a promise. Every stone thrown was an act of love. A father watched his child sleep beside the fire. He knew that one mistake, one moment of silence, could end that tiny heartbeat forever. So he stayed awake, through cold and exhaustion, listening to the rhythm of his child's breath. That rhythm became his prayer. Alone, man was weak. Together, unstoppable. The first humans learned the power of unity. When danger came, they formed a circle, mothers and children in the center, warriors on the outside. The cry of one became the cry of all, and for the first time, humanity fought, not just to live, but to live together. That instinct to stand between danger and the young was not just survival. It was the birth of compassion. Knowledge became their weapon. They marked bones and trees to warn others, predators here. Smoke in patterns told nearby families where it was safe to walk, where to find water, where death waited in the shadows. These were the first languages, not of words, but of meaning. Every mark carved was a memory preserved for the young. Culture, ritual, and story, all born from the need to protect. Some did not survive the fight, but their stories did. a father who ran into the dark to draw away a predator, a mother who stood her ground so her children could reach the rocks. Their bravery echoed in the cries of newborns yet to come. Sacrifice became the highest form of love, and from those sacrifices, the spirit of humanity was forged, unyielding, selfless, eternal. Even in struggle, there was laughter. Children played at hunting, chasing shadows in the tall grass. What looked like games were lessons in survival. They learned the movements, the sounds, the patience. Play was training, and joy somehow survived the darkness. Thousands of generations passed. The wild gave way to firelight. The hunt gave way to home. But the instinct remained, the sacred duty to guard the small. It grew into law, faith, and civilization itself. Every wall built, every tool made, every story told began with the same purpose: keep them safe. Look into the eyes of a parent today, and you'll see the echo of that ancient fire. The same fear, the same courage, the same promise. We have changed the world, but within us still burns the first and oldest truth: that love is not gentle, it is fierce, it fights, it endures. 1,000,000 years ago, under the endless sky, the first guardians stood watch. They had no weapons of steel, no walls, no words. Only hearts that refused to surrender. They did not know they were making history. They only knew they were protecting what mattered most, and in doing so, they made us human. Time moves like the wind, unseen, unstoppable. The faces of those first humans are long gone, but their choices still shape the pulse of our world. Every time a parent holds their child through the night, every time someone stands between danger and the innocent, a whisper from 1,000,000 years ago breathes again. It says, "We are still here, through fire, through hunger, through fear, through the endless march of time itself, because love, true primal love, never dies. It crosses ages, bloodlines, and civilizations. It is the quiet force that carried us from the dark into the dawn. And as the sun rises once more, somewhere, a parent still keeps watch, defending the small flame of life that began so long ago."